retire, right? We also encourage participation of senior citizens in nation building. We see senior citizens not only as persons desiring or in need of welfare and support, but active contributors to society, people who have things to offer, right? We give recognition to senior citizens as vital and useful members of society. We establish and maintain programs to meet their needs, and we encourage an intergenerational approach with seniors. Seniors grow older within the family and the community setting, and so we all need to learn how to engage with and to deal with senior citizens. Hi. So why is that important? It's important because right across the world, people are growing older, and we are no different in Jamaica. People are living longer. The population of senior citizens is increasing rapidly. In fact, it is the fastest growing segment of the Jamaican population. And by 2050 or thereabouts, we are going to have more senior citizens than children under 5 years old, right? Which means that, well, some of us can see families have become smaller. Most women have 2, 3, or less than 2 children, right? So our families have been reducing over time. Maybe that 2 is better than too many slogan worked a little bit, too well for us. And so we are reaping the benefits of that, right? So we estimate that currently we are at about 13.3, 13.9% of the population. And it is projected that we will reach at or around 22% by 2050, which is not so far away. I believe by that time I should be retired. And by that time, 1 in every 4 persons in Jamaica will be a senior citizen, right? And that is very important. It's very profound if you think about it. We also know that women are living longer than men. So most of our senior citizens will be women. That is a very impactful statement as well. It has implications for what we need to do to support the men so that, they are aging alongside us, right? And we also know that senior citizens are growing healthier and more active, and they are requiring new services.
Recording in progress.
Assist them to grow older and to age well, right? So then we spoke earlier, I alluded to the National Policy for Senior Citizens. I would direct you to our website at the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, where you can download a copy of the Policy for Senior Citizens, and you will be able to see what we are working towards in Jamaica. This new version of the policy is aiming to achieve increased participation of senior citizens in society, improving their income security and social protection coverage. And that's very important because as people live longer, they need some sort of income to support them as they grow older, right? It speaks to personal responsibility for their own welfare as well as government support. We are also working towards adequate and supportive health and wellness systems for senior citizens, and that's very important. As you grow older, healthcare costs are one of the major expenses for senior citizens, so that is very important. We are also working towards independence, security, and safety for senior citizens. Well, all of us would like to be safe, so it's not just senior citizens. We do have a problem with regards to crime. And safety is very important. Most importantly as well, we look at family support systems and community solidarity from interactions with senior citizens. And I hope that as I am speaking, we are seeing how the roles of the justices of the peace are important even to the achievement of these goals for our society, right? So what do we do? What are some of the services that we offer? And so quickly, one of the main, probably most popular service that we offer is the Senior Citizens Identification Card, right? So this is an identification card that is available to all Jamaicans who are 60 years and older. The requirements to obtain the ID include a birth certificate, a voter ID or passport, TRN, and passport photographs. And you can apply at any location of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security or the NIS office. So you can definitely apply at the NIS office in Spanish Town, right? Or we find that some persons find it easier to come into Kingston to us since we are almost smack dab in the middle of Halfway Tree, right? The benefits of the Senior Citizens ID card is that it is a form of identification that is specific to senior citizens that permits transactions with various commercial banks, with the post offices. You can use it to apply for a passport. For those persons that utilize JUTC services, you obtain this concessionary bus fare on the JUTC bus because of your access to the Senior Citizens ID card. And of course, you can use it to obtain discounts from various pharmacies and supermarkets and so on, and from our various discount partners. It does take a little time to process. Depending on the situation, there can be some flexibility. But I want to point this out because certainly as justices of the peace, you would want to be encouraging senior citizens to interact, to apply for this card to obtain the benefits. Sometimes they are not aware of the benefits, and sometimes they really and truly need an identification card. If a senior citizen does not have a birth certificate, the council does assist them to obtain a birth certificate in order to receive this benefit, right? And there are other benefits that access to the birth certificate opens the senior up to, and we'll speak about those later on. So there's a sample of your senior citizens ID, right? And so if any of your clients should engage with you, then you should have some idea of what the Senior Citizen ID looks like and to know that it's a legitimate form of identification. Right. Another popular program we have is the Meals on Wheels program, right? So there are two benefits on this program. And the benefit is provided to senior citizens, that's persons who are 60 years and older, who are needy, right? These persons are needy. They would not be, they would not have a pension. Many of them are not on PATH, not on the social pension, not on poor relief, but they are struggling. So when you identify those persons, these are persons that you can make contact with us, refer into us for the service, right? In Kingston and St. Andrew, we provide a home delivery service where we provide cooked meals, right? However, in St. Catherine, the benefit is a monthly food basket to senior citizens who are needy. And it goes a long way. It is not much, but it does go a long way. And one of the main benefits of this program that I would like the JPs to to know about is the assistance with medical supplies and mobility aids, right? This is very important. So many times we can assist persons at home with rollators, with walkers, with walking sticks, and so on, where available. Where we do not have them available, we can tap into our referral partners to help to source these aids to support the seniors in their homes, right? One of the most popular demand, I would say, we have is for walking sticks, wheelchairs, and adult diapers. Those always go quite quickly. We also welcome donations. So if you are part of a service group or a club, you can, of course, tap in. I know you might have your own charitable organizations, either through this association or in your communities. But where we can support or where you're falling short, just for you to know that this is an entity that you can engage with so that persons within your community can benefit. All right. And then, fortunately, we do have a home help service in St. Catherine. You are one of the parishes in which we offer this service. This is a home visit by a nurse aide, and in some instances where we have volunteers. And these persons go into the homes of senior citizens who need assistance and help them where possible with basic medical care, accompanying them to hospitals, to the clinics, running errands like filling their prescriptions, groceries, and so on. Just that kind of in-home support, right? So that service is available in St. Catherine and is something that you can tap into for the senior citizens in your community with whom you interact. Another service we provide is skills training, right? So we have various seminars, workshops, and so on for senior citizens to participate in. We have digital literacy sessions. We facilitate training through HEART for persons who are senior citizens. Oftentimes persons retire and they have nothing to do. They're at home. Sometimes learning a new skill opens up avenues for income support. And so that is possible, or just for socialization. We do retirement planning sessions for companies, and as well as for, working adults who are nearing the age of retirement that need to have that information, because we know that the government is not able to provide welfare to everyone. We all have to, at some point, make our own plans. And the support of the government is to prevent us from falling below the poverty line. But the personal responsibility for us towards retirement remains, right? We do small business management courses, computer classes. We do training in farming, poultry, rabbit, beekeeping, all of those things. And most times we are doing these through our partners and through RADA, the Agricultural Society, and so on. We also help seniors who would like to start small projects with obtaining these things, chickens and chicken feed and so on, because we want to assist them to be able to provide for themselves, to support their pension as they grow older. And we also provide CPR and first aid training for senior citizens. We recognize centenarians. These are persons who are 100 years and older. And I am always welcoming of, this type of information. The council does have a centenarian registry, which we generally publish once per year. we identify these centenarians, place them on record, and they are recognized usually by the Minister of Labor and Social Security, the Governor General, and King Charles, well, now King Charles, and so many senior citizens look forward to that special card or greeting to congratulate them on the achievement of this milestone. And so we also help to with the deposits, the recording of the life stories of these centenarians to the Jamaica Memory Bank. So I know that there are some of you justices who will know elderly persons who have this wealth of knowledge and history about Jamaica or even their community that is very important, and it would be good to share with the nation. So when you find those persons, just forward them on to us so that we can have their stories recorded, for posterity. So many times what we read in the books are generally sometimes just one perspective of experiences. And we have persons who would have lived through several experiences, and we would like to add to that body of knowledge. All right. We also recognize outstanding senior citizens. And so we make recommendations for national awards that are conferred by the Governor General each year. And we also, through the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, have national awards once every 5 years, where we recognize outstanding senior citizens. In the photo you are looking at there is one of your justices from St. Catherine, who is being awarded by the Prime Minister. We also, from time to time in September, have local parish awards where we look out for senior citizens who have made outstanding contributions or are being very outstanding in their communities. And so we welcome you helping us to identify these persons. Another major role of the council is advocacy. And for the most part, we advocate for social benefits for senior citizens, right? And some of these social benefits include the NIS and NI Gold, which are contributory benefits. These are benefits you get for making a contribution or paying into these systems. So we know about the NIS and, the pension for government employees through the Accountant General. But where we advocate the most is at non-contributory pension benefits. So we know about the PATH program that provides a bi-monthly benefit to seniors of $6,200. That's every 2 months, very small, right? But in recent times, the new social pension program, which came about because of our advocacy and the need to support those persons who have no pension at all and need some kind of support because they are being left behind, right? And so currently we are supporting those persons who are 75 years and older, and the PATH program supports those persons who are above 60 but under 75 years old. And we hear from time to time from members of the public that persons are attempting to get onto these programs and they are having a challenge. And I want to encourage you this evening that if you know of those elderly persons who are trying to get onto these benefits and they are having a challenge, please let us know so that we can assist the process along. Okay, then there are other benefits now that include, for example, the National Health Fund and the JADEP program. So JADEP came out of the advocacy of the council and the need to support senior citizens who were growing older with these health conditions and could not afford medication. And as a result, the government's response was JADEP. And the success of JADEP led to the creation of the National Health Fund, which now provides support to all Jamaicans, irrespective of age, once they would have been suffering from any of those chronic health conditions. So NHF provides prescription drugs, screening tests now for elderly persons, those who are diabetic, for the HbA1c. They have recently added the prostate test for men. Breast cancer receptor study tests, and these are usually very expensive tests. Seniors can get free glucometers. Those are the machines that test your blood sugar, and they pay less for the disposables, syringes, test strips, and so on, as well as asthma pumps, right? Another benefit, yes, we spoke about the JUTC concessionary fares benefit and other benefits that come, for example, through poor relief, the indoor poor at the infirmaries and the outdoor poor who are persons in the communities. Maybe what is a best kept secret, apologies for that typo, it's public assistance grants, right? So the Ministry of Labor and Social Security provides grants to persons who are in need to help to support their economic livelihood or whatever situation they find themselves in at the time that they need support. So rehabilitation grants help senior citizens with income generating opportunities, right? So you want to start a small business or something you want to support an existing small business, those grants are available. Compassionate grants would be for help with purchasing, for example, medications that are not offered under JADEP, diagnostic tests that need to be done at a particular laboratory that the senior might not be able to afford, purchase of things like wheelchairs and so on. And all of these benefits are available, but they are not necessarily advertised to the public. And therefore, the council tries to find where these resources are so that we are able to use them for the benefit of senior citizens. We also work closely with the Council for Persons with Disabilities. And so we help with obtaining their registration there and whatever benefits and grants that they also give that support persons with disabilities, some of whom are senior citizens. And of course, we have other feeding programs, nutritional support programs that are offered by different churches and service clubs and non-government entities within St. Catherine that maybe you might not be aware of, but the council might be able to link some of your clients with those services, right? So we offer health programs, physical activity workshops, and senior centers, healthy lifestyle workshops. We assist with training for caregivers. We have caregivers of persons who are shut in, caregivers of persons with dementia and Alzheimer's can find that kind of support. We do health seminars and workshops. And of course, we have senior citizen sports at the parish level, at the regional level, the national level. And unfortunately, We no longer have the Caribbean Games, but that was also a feature. We also work quite closely with the Ministry of Health and Wellness. There, on your screen is the physical activity guide for older persons that was developed in a partnership with the Jamaica Moose team. These are available on our website, and so these are things that you can download and bring to the attention of senior citizens so that they can keep active even at home. It's a practical guide. There is a web-based component, but this is a practical guide that seniors can use within their homes to maintain their health and prevent frailty and decline that occurs as you grow older. All right. Oh, good. All right. So we also have health and information programs. We have digital and financial literacy training. We assist seniors with various workshops from time to time that are convened with commercial banks for the most part, and to some extent credit unions, where they have to learn to use online banking, how to use the ATM, ABM machines. We teach about internet safety, how they can shop and use point of sale services, how to use their smart devices and things like bill payment and so on. We are aware that there is, some kind of reticence with engaging with technology on the part of senior citizens, right? But it is very important that we continue with the training so that no senior is left behind in society. All right. We also convene estate planning workshops. That's very important because we believe that people need to understand how to make plans for their future. So we will work with our partners to teach senior citizens about wills, living wills, power of attorney, and other kinds of provisions and documents like those. Truth to be told, we also work to convene these workshops for justices of the peace as well, because we realize that you do engage with senior citizens who are seeking, some of them are seeking this kind of service. And our other services basically include referrals. So when we find out the needs of senior citizens, we do our best to refer them to the various resources that are available wherever in the island to meet those needs that they have. And where we find that there are gaps, then that is where our advocacy comes in to try and ensure that we are bringing these matters to the minister so that we can, take the necessary steps to address, or at least begin to conceptualize how we are going to address these issues, right? We have senior citizens clubs, and these are generally, service and socialization clubs for senior citizens. They are operated, managed by senior citizens, and they determine their agenda. We work through the Senior Citizens Club to provide some of these types of interaction and training for the benefit of senior citizens. And for the most part, some of the information that is provided through these clubs, seniors find quite useful. We also have activity centers. These are not daycare centers, but are centers where active and able-bodied seniors come out to socialize and to engage, to learn, to participate in the various activities with their peers. as well as with younger persons. We identify and register vulnerable elderly. So from time to time, in times of disaster or whatever type of disaster, or in times of emergency, that we are able to provide advice as to where vulnerable elderly are. We are also able to target senior citizens based on their vulnerability. So when we know what the needs are, we are able to respond to those persons, right? We also do elder abuse investigations, and elder abuse is a growing problem within Jamaica. We are finding more and more that most of the perpetrators of elder abuse are actually family members of senior citizens, right? And so we have to take steps to work with families, to work with the various stakeholders so that we can protect the seniors and prevent abuse, right? And that is very important. What we define elder abuse as is a single or repeated act or a lack of appropriate action that is occurring in any relationship, whether it is kinship or a caregiver relationship, where there is an expectation of trust. And this act or lack of action causes harm or distress to the older person or the senior citizen. And there are various forms of elder abuse. So most times people think it is just physical hitting, or stealing somebody's finances or their assets. We also have emotional abuse, right? Many persons live in fear and go through severe depression because of emotional abuse from their family members and caregivers. And we of course know of sexual abuse of senior citizens. It does happen. And we do have a problem in Jamaica in terms of neglect of senior citizens. We see the Ministry of Health at their wits' end trying to see how they can deal with families that abandon their older family members in hospital, right? We sometimes come upon cases also of self-neglect, where senior citizens themselves just place themselves in situations that are really unhygienic and unhealthy. So sometimes, for the most part, there are other issues that may include mental health issues that cause self-neglect. All right. And we know of exploitation of senior citizens with all this scamming and with persons who find themselves in a position of trust of senior citizens, and then they use that trust to exploit or to defraud senior citizens. Some of the implications for justices of the peace, and I'm speaking now based on issues that we would have identified through the National Council for Senior Citizens. Sometimes we have to make contact with the various custodies based on what happens or the nature of a particular situation. But we would want to know that you are abiding by, the guidelines with regards to certification of documents. That is a major problem that we have within the council when it relates to senior citizens, particularly when it has to do with their assets. We would want to know that you, as a justice of the peace, have verified the understanding and the intent of the senior citizen, right? So you are supposed to interrogate and probe, right, before you go ahead and, just put your seal or your stamp on a document. Because some of the times I mean, I know you are not doctors, but some of the times it is obvious that senior citizens might not be in the mental capacity to make the decisions that are being asked of them to make. Right? Sometimes their decisions, particularly, for example, in the case of power of attorney, sometimes their intent is to grant this power of attorney on one occasion or for a particular incident or instance, and not to give the person power of attorney for the rest of their life. Right? And we would also want you to witness documents and signatures in the presence of the senior. I know that sometimes we try to be accommodating because we know the family members, or we know that the grandmother is a shut-in, and so the grandson comes with a document from Geoland to say that she would like to add his name to the title, or she would like to sign over the title to the grandson, right? But sometimes that is not so. And we need to be very careful when we do these things. We have had several instances. I cannot recall for the parish of St. Catherine, but we have had other instances where we have had to intervene and to interrupt processes of land transfer because the intent of the senior and the intent of the person who is carrying out the process of transferring the title or particular parcels of land are not the same, right? We would also want you to report cases of suspected elder abuse to the National Council for Senior Citizens. You do not have to know that it is actually elder abuse, but if you suspect that something is happening, you can report it. You do not have to identify yourself. You can send us an email. You can call our toll-free line. You can write us a letter, whatever means you choose to report. You can help to stop elder abuse. All reports are kept confidential, and we do use different methods to investigate elder abuse that do not implicate the reporter, right? And most importantly, another role that you can play certainly is victim support, right? Because senior citizens who are abused most times are often very distressed, very depressed. They are very ashamed because these are adults, they're not children. And, many times they blame themselves, or they feel very sorry that they have found themselves in this situation, or because the perpetrators, as I said before, are generally family members, there is generally, that amount of regret and shame. And many times that is why elder abuse is not reported, because persons feel ashamed that this is happening to them, right? We also have other activities for senior citizens. Seniors participate in international, intergenerational debates where, they use their mental skills and their ability to research and so on to debate on issues that usually are about aging, and sometimes they are not. Sometimes they are related to interactions with the society, with younger persons, and so on. We do have the National Senior Spelling Bee competition that is held annually in September, and it has been a very popular event, growing. We have Bible quiz competitions for senior citizens who are interested in that kind of activity. And we have various opportunities right across the board, across all age groups for seniors to volunteer. You can volunteer with senior citizens, you can volunteer with children, you can volunteer with young adults, working age adults. We have various opportunities for mentorship, right? And so we encourage you to, link senior citizens in your communities with us. Some of you might be senior citizens yourself, and you have this wealth of knowledge that we would love for you to share as well. And of course, we have recreational and educational trips for senior citizens. The St. Catherine group is very active. They are usually, I think, apart from St. James, senior citizens in St. Catherine probably occupy the North Coast most frequently than any other parish. Because we are always, finding the deals and so on for senior citizens to enjoy the hotels and the vacation offerings and recreational offerings for senior citizens across the board. So those are some of the activities for the senior citizens. So we want to hear from you. I'm posting again, as I promised, our contact information. We are on Facebook as the National Council for Senior Citizens. We are on Instagram and Twitter as at NCSC Jamaica. Our website, www.mlss, as in Ministry of Labor and Social Security.gov.jm. Our head office is at 11 West Kings House Road, Kingston 10. That is just below the Canadian Embassy and Fontana Central Mega Mart in that area, right? But the St. Catherine Parish office is at 10 Hanover Street in Spanish Town. Our email, NCSC, National Council for Senior Citizens, at Ministry of Labor and Social Security.gov.jm. And of course, I've listed the number for our head office, the number for the Spanish Town office, and the mobile number for the parish officer for St. Catherine. And she is listening out for your calls, right? So we hope to hear from you. I hope you would have learned quite a bit from some of the information I was able to share this evening. And I really hope that you'll take the opportunity to either volunteer yourself or to refer the senior citizens, your constituents in so that they can benefit. And we can all work together to make St. Catherine the parish that supports senior citizens, right? Thank you so much. And I will take your questions now, if there are any, or your comments or any feedback that you may have, if I have time.
Yes, you certainly have some time. We want to really thank you so much for that very informative presentation. Indeed, Mrs. Morrison, you have, I'm sure, enlightened a lot of us to a lot of things that we never knew. We knew probably some of them were available, but not all. And we want to thank you for that very comprehensive and informative session this evening, and really taking time out, because we know we have so many seniors. So indeed, you are busy, and they are very active seniors too. And so we know they keep you on your toes, and you have to keep them very, very, very active. So we want to say thank you very much for sharing with us this evening rather. And we are now open for your questions, for question and answers. And of course, you can view the comments from our JPs in the chat as they are responding to the presentation. Excellent presentation. Many thanks to you and all of that. It's all there so you can peruse as you go along. But in the interest of time, we will indeed take the questions. We ask our technical team to just assist with the enabling of those persons who, and we ask that you do so with a show of hands. And the first hand I see is Jay Blake, and we invite your question at this time. And we ask that you make your questions brief so that everyone, as much as possible, can have an opportunity. Okay, Jay Blake, you may unmute now and field your question at this time.
Yes. Good night, everyone. And thank you, Mrs. Morrison, for that lovely presentation.
Yeah.
I am familiar with the senior citizen. And of course, I am aware of Mrs. Squire and the very good job she's doing. But I do have problem as a retiree from a retiree about the situation that is going on at Ripon Road. We said that we are preparing them and establishing programs for them, and yet the programs that is written on paper, most of it is not being done. It is a sin to see how they treat the senior citizens at Ripon Road. I have been working a long time to try to assist some of them, which even I was at the office yesterday. And I do sign papers occasionally there. What you call it?
Life certificate. The life certificate.
Life certificate, right. But the programs, for instance, the public assistance, it's a no-no. Public assistant at Spanish Town when she's not in office, it's a no-no. Compassionate grant, it is not been done. It is not been done because I am getting complaints, calls, from several persons. And when I go there and I talk to people, because senior citizens is one of my passion. They know that it's a passion for me and I love to work with them. Some of them can be difficult, but you learn from them also. I would like to stress, I know, for instance, you have a lovely program at West Kingsworth Road where they do the crafts, sports, they do cushions, a lovely program. But the other divisions, no, especially Spanish Town. And people are calling and there's, especially, I'm being honest, especially your officer there who's in charge of the not Mr. Squire, I'm talking, your manager, unresponsive. She don't take calls. When you're called there to have to, and you know it's difficult to get there. Yesterday I went to the post office. There was a lady there. I'm going to, I guess running it through. She's 102. And when I saw the lady, I was so fascinated by her. And she was not able to even open the envelope and I had to assist her. And then I saw her grandson came up and said she was 102. I had to look at the ID. And I whispered to her and said, "What is it?" And she kissed me on my jaw. I tell you, it's the most wonderful feeling I ever have. I just came close to her and said, "Tell me the secret of old age." And the lady kissed me. I felt so good. And I help others there because some of them they don't remember. I don't know how they manage at the bank. They don't know that he didn't remember that he had written up for the money to go into the bank, and had to call head office and find out. Thank God that there are person that I still know there, and they were able to tell him go to the bank because it is now posted in the bank. Several of them, there's nobody there, especially at a certain location to assist, especially as a JP. So I don't know, Miss Morrison. I don't know. The presentation was fantastic, honestly, because I know that is what implement on paper, but you are not there most of the time to see what is happening with the public, the people who we need of the assistance. And it grieved me, honestly, because I'm so upset. And that's why the first thing I wanted to talk. I know you must have got a lot of complaining, but you can't be there everywhere. And you have persons who are supposed to be doing what they're doing and they're not doing it. And I'm very perturbed about it.
Right.
I thank you for listening to me.
Yes, so thank you. I can hear the passion in your voice. And yes, we do know. We have a new minister. Just yesterday, I noted that there was a renewed call for improvement in customer service right across the ministry. I know we have a problem at Ripon Road, and I'm aware that they are taking steps to address that problem, right? I also know that we have problems in St. Catherine. We have problems with the location itself because it's quite inaccessible. It's not convenient for senior citizens or persons with disabilities.
Yes.
So we know that that is a challenge, and I'm aware that there is work in the pipeline to address that challenge. But in terms of their responsiveness there to senior citizens, I am definitely going to be making some intervention in that regard and to see if we can make an impact out there in St. Catherine.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to hear and to see what is going on because, as I said, senior citizens are my passion.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes,
thank you very much, Justice Blake.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, thank you for filling the question. We have the other JP Caroline Hall. We'll take your question, and I'd like to remind all our JPs it's a question and answer.
What I need to find out, Miss Morrison, for persons that is already receiving benefits from the government, the NIS pension, are they qualified to get Meals on Wheels? Will they qualify for that?
Sometimes we have to respond, right? The protocol, the policy is that the ministry provides one benefit because there are so many persons who need a benefit. But if you call into the National Council for Senior Citizens to say, I'm a senior, I have nothing to eat, my cupboards are empty, we will be responding whether or not you are registered. And we find also that we have a group of seniors that we call them the pension poor, because although they are receiving NIS pension, it's the very minimum. And so we find that we really and truly have to support them otherwise with another benefit. So I think what I want to say is that it depends on the case. We do needs assessment, and if we find that the senior citizen is in need and really deserve the benefit, then we will admit you either on an interim basis or we support you on the program full time.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Okay. Ms. Morris, quickly, one of the comments that's in the chat is that recently I was asked where can a 70-year-old go to learn art? Can you kindly advise me? Thanks very much.
Okay, nice. So I would advise you to call in to the offices of the National Council for Senior Citizens. We have various programs across the corporate area, some in St. Catherine, some in other places. So we would try to link the person with something that is either closer or more convenient to the person. So you could just call the office, or you could ask for me if you are not able to, if you're not getting anywhere. But most times we are able to advise. All right?
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. The other comment question is there's little regard for senior citizens everywhere in Jamaica, the banks, the tax offices, etc., etc. Will the council be pushing for a change in this regard?
Definitely so. And I did say that in short order, we are coming out with a public education campaign. So in short order, you should see us more in the public with this type of campaign. These are exactly the messages that we are putting forward. Respect for senior citizens and care, the type of customer service that they deserve, how they should be treated in their homes and in society, and so on, as well as for how persons should deal with senior citizens, as well as how do you prepare for life as a senior citizen. So you should be seeing some of those messages as well. And I am aware that we are also doing some work towards legislation to further protect senior citizens. That is in the pipeline.
Okay, thank you. And for clarification, the age when you are regarded as a senior citizen is?
60 years old.
Okay, so once you get to 60, means therefore then that you qualify to apply for your senior citizens identification card and
Very
to
well.
get all the other benefits there.
Yes. So
Okay.
we are responsible for you, whether you want to accept us or not.
Okay.
So
So all those who are 60 and plus, they
yes,
are responsible for you whether you want it or not.
or not. Right.
Okay, that is good indeed.
And I know somebody might ask the question, but yes, retirement pensionable age is 65 years old.
Mhm.
But until there's a change, you are a senior citizen at 60 years old.
Okay, great. All right. Ripon Road have poor customer service. They have the seniors going back and forth instead of giving seniors the full information. I don't know how you would comment on
Yes.
that.
And we get those complaints, and as I said before, it's something that, you know, that we are really working on in terms of the advocacy for improvement in the customer service there. I know it's a priority of the ministers. I see it, as I was saying, even just yesterday, the importance of customer service being stressed through notices and instructions from management of the ministry. And so we continue to call them out when they do wrong. And there are some times that, well, once in a blue moon, every now and again, a senior will call us to commend them for their service. And we do so at those times. But when they do not, when it really should not be, haphazard. It should be the standard, right? And so we'll continue to definitely to advocate on behalf of the seniors for better treatment, particularly from the ministry that has responsibility for them.
All right, quickly again, there are some excellent programs, but the seniors are not able to access them because it's very hard for the seniors, especially those who live alone. And that's a comment. And I
Yeah.
don't know if you have any programs since you're responsible for all the seniors to reaching and finding them and to, just informing them. Because some who live alone might not have the access to information readily. I don't know if there's any new methods, that you could utilize.
And yes, that's this is one of the avenues that we use to do that, when we engage with persons, with our stakeholders, to ask for your help, in identifying these persons and getting the word out to them. As I said before, we are hoping to take to general media, radio and television, so that hopefully those seniors living alone can be sensitized and we can encourage them to make contact with us so that, they self-target rather than us finding them. We do have a meager staff. I mean, we have 2 officers for St. Catherine. St. Catherine is a very large parish. In fact, it is 2 parishes in one. So, in the coming year, I know that we should be expanding our staff complement so that we are able to be responding to the growing aging population. Somebody is commenting about the 6,200 bi-monthly. Yes, we know that it is a very small number. But we celebrate the successes. It is as a result of years of advocacy, and it really is. At the time, we took the benefit that we could get that was the best to serve those who were most vulnerable, right? I think the budget, we got $800 million for social pension, right? And that was supposed to cover some 50-something thousand persons, senior citizens who were 75 and older. That is not nearly enough, but we start and we are hoping that over time it will grow, since it is supposed to be hedged to the national insurance pension. So with each incremental increase of the NIS, we hope to see an increase in the social pension. The point, though, is that from government's perspective, these are part of the social safety net. So it is basic support, right?
Okay.
Right.
And someone is saying, I'm now 60 and retired. How and where do I apply for my senior citizens ID? They might have missed it in the first instance when you presented. So could you just repeat again, please?
Right. So you can apply at the NIS office in Spanish Town, or you can visit our office at 11 West Kings House Road in Kingston.
Okay. And one person said, I had applied for my 2 sisters, senior citizens from 2012. They have not yet received them.
That is unusual. That is very unusual. That is 10 years ago, almost 11 years ago. I am not certain what happened to that, but I would encourage you to apply again. All right. And when you apply, please let the officer know of your experience so that we can expedite it for you.
For those persons in private sector who retire at 60, why the 5-year wait?
Okay. That has to do with the National Insurance Act, the NIS Act, right? We are aware that pensionable age is 65 years, was increased incrementally over a number of years to 65 years. So if you retire at 60, you are considered to have taken early retirement, right? And so that is why you are not eligible for the benefit until you are 65 years old, unfortunately. So you are allowed to work part-time or to engage in other activities until your pension kicks in. That's the NIS.
Mhm. And as you mentioned, the NIS, there is a concern, of course, that there are many persons who are not paying NIS into, especially when they're self-employed.
Yes.
How and some persons are turned off with the process to make their contributions because they have to go to the post office, then they have to fill out these stamp cards with these little stamps, buy these stamp cards, which is time consuming, and it's not in today's age. You know, I think maybe when you go to your next planning meeting or whatever, you can tell them to get with the times, you know,
Yes.
because
Yes.
I mean, it may be as simple as possibly going online, using the card or something to make the payments. You have taxi operators, you have so many persons who could be, we could garner into the under the tax net also to pay their housing trust, their different, and their NIS, especially for that pension, you know, small though it may be, but at least they could make their returns in a more modern way, if you will, and
Yes.
in the age of technology. So possibly online and also at the tax office. So
Yes.
they could just go to the tax office with whatever the requirements are to be presented and pay their NIS, you know,
Yes.
establish
Yes.
that and pay instead of going to post office, buy, getting stamp cards from NIS. A lot of persons, when you encourage them to do that so that they can get a little benefit at the end of their days or whatever it is, they are turned off by that. So I believe it would be something worthwhile to change the process and the method of payment.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. I know they're always interested in methods of collecting money. So I am definitely going to be making that recommendation.
Yes. All right. Okay, so I don't think we have any other. Let me see if we have any
Somebody's
other.
noting somebody's visiting from 2021 to apply for their ID and has not received it. I am certain that that is an issue that is most recent. I would advise you to call and speak with one Mr. March, who should be able to assist you. If you could just type the name of the person privately to me, I would try to address that for you.
Okay. And for the person who's asking for other trainings, definitely yes, we will be looking at. We have a number of other training sessions lined up, including the one you're asking. And so definitely stay tuned. We will definitely be informing you about those upcoming sessions. All right. And so the numbers were posted, if you will. Someone had asked Miss Morris, if you could just, the information again, if you could just post that again, that we could capture that once more.
Okay.
All right. And whilst you do that, I think we have now basically exhausted our time. And we want to thank you once more for really sharing with us this afternoon, this evening rather, this very informative session, and you have so ably presented and with clarity. And of course, you know, you have been detailed, and we are sure that any other questions we may have, like you've said, we can always call on you. I'm sure our justices of the peace have been more educated this evening on the benefits, the programs, the advocacy, all that's available to our senior citizens. And as we engaged with you and you shared with us this evening, I have no doubt that our communities in the parish of St. Catherine will be better off for this engagement, because our JPs will definitely be sharing, because they have certainly been empowered. And I want to thank you so much for taking your time out this evening to share with us and present to us such a wonderful presentation. Thank you, and may God continue to bless you as you serve not only yourself and your family, but your people. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. And before I forget, I did promise 2 gifts. So I have 2 quick questions, and I'm going to ask you, Madam Chair, to assist me with identifying the winners. I have the prize is $500 flow credit.
Pardon me, could you just take your screen down a bit so I can?
Sure.
Yes.
All right. So
I can see.
Honey, come and help me. To stop sharing. I need to stop sharing. Oh, I was sharing. Perfect. There we go.
Okay, there you go. Okay. So, all right. So we're looking for. All right.
Are we ready?
So you're looking for. Okay, you may go ahead with your.
Okay, sure. In response to Miss Yvette, sure, I've noted. All right.
Thank you so much.
My first question, to what ministry is the National Council for Senior Citizens associated?
So I see Alric. Oh, okay. So
you have to wait to be identified.
Yes, I see Alric's hand first. That's the first one that popped up. Alric, could you unmute and say your answer, please, quickly? Or we have to move on to. Yes.
Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
Yes, congratulations.
All right.
Thank you.
So our first winner of $500 flow credit, JP Alric, congratulations to you, sir. I am going to make the gift available to JP Wright, so you could be in contact with him in order to claim your prize, right? And my second
another hand is up. Somebody hand is up. They need to lower their hand.
Mr. Blake, J. Blake.
Raymond Reed and somebody else have their hand.
So lower your hand so that we can go on to the next question, please. All right, thank you. You may go ahead, Mrs. Morrison.
Okay. What is the recognized, so it's 2 parts. The question is 2 parts. I need the age at which you become a senior citizen and the age at which you are pensionable.
All right, I see Juliet Senior's hand, and you may go ahead.
The senior citizen is 60 and the pensionable is 60.
Didn't hear that. The pensionable age is
65.
Good. All right. Congratulations.
Okay, congratulations.
All right, congratulations. So I thank everyone for participating. You've been an awesome audience. I thank you so much for your time and your attention. I thank you, if nobody else does, for your service to your community, for your service to Jamaica, for your service to senior citizens. I wish for you a wonderful night, right? And I wish for you a wonderful weekend that will begin tomorrow. I hope that it is a time that you use to refresh yourself and to do some self-care, even while we care for others. Thank you so much. And I'll see you again at another time, hopefully.
Most definitely, we will be calling on you again at another time and right at this same place. All right. Thanks again so much. And thank you all, my colleague JPs, for joining us this evening. And we look forward to seeing you again on this platform for another Power Hour session. God bless you all and have a good evening. Justice Wright, do you have any announcements or anything before we go? You may indicate, or so do you?
Thank you very much, Madam. Really appreciate it. Not at all. You have said it all. Mrs. Morrison did a great job. And, you know, wow, we learned a lot this evening. Yes. That's my 2 piece. Thank you.
Right. And thank you so much, JP Wright, for always being our ever-present chairperson and president. And as you lead us, may God continue to bless you. All right. Good night, everyone. And have a great weekend when it comes. Bless you all.
Same to you.
Good night. Bless you.
Night.
Night.
Night to all. Night.
Night.
Good night, everyone.